What's up, guys? Area Lords here. Doing another review for The Walking Dead. It seems just with the frequency or the infrequency of how I'm able to get to these reviews, I seem to be doing these in bulk, in two parts. For the last two episodes, I will absolutely do individual videos for those. Apologies for being behind. I know this is the last stretch of Walking Dead. And I definitely do want to, get the discussion going and stuff. So anyway, without further ado, this is a review for two episodes, Outpost 22 and Faith. And it was crazy seeing the end credits for Faith where they were showing that we only had two episodes left. And it just, it made me sad, at the same time concerned, because there's so much that has to get resolved, and I just really don't know if they can actually resolve it. But these two episodes were closely related because we had, so for Outpost 22, we had the group being, the prisoners that were taken on Pamela's orders being brought to Outpost 22, which we find out that is just, at the end, the spoiler is that's just Alexandria, and then they turned Alexandria into basically like a prisoner of war, not prisoner of war, but just like a prisoner's camp. The first part of the episode, they're just like on the road there, and the other half of the episode is Daryl and Carol trying to take down and intercept the group. You have a humanity moment with one of the Commonwealth soldiers who they sneak up on. I do appreciate that they're trying to give a little humanity to these Commonwealth soldiers. There's a scene where Father Gabriel reads him his last rites and recognizes that this guy was kind of a godly man. He attended his church sessions pretty regularly. So I did appreciate that. That they're trying to, with the limited time that they have, they're trying to show us that these soldiers, have humanity to them. Mercer being the biggest example of that. We get to that at the end of the Faith episode. And there was actually another soldier in the Faith episode. A very, very brief scene, but, it gets across the gist of it, where he thought that he was going to get home to his sick brother, and the asshole warden tells him that he's going to be there for another 6 months, and you can see him kind of clench his fist and get all pissed off and stuff, which, if I'm the warden, I wouldn't have that conversation in front of a prisoner who can use that to my advantage. Now, it wasn't necessarily Negan that did that, but, the other prisoners, Ezekiel and the rest, did later in the Faith episode. But in Outpost 22, so there's some interesting things. One interesting thing is the conversation between Ezekiel and Negan, which the show pretty much acknowledges that we've never had a conversation between these two characters. This was the issue with Carol and Negan for the longest time, and then that happened during the Whisperer arc with Alpha. And, we get a little catch-up. We do get the, Ezekiel makes it known that, he's been avoiding Negan, and that, he still holds grudges about what happened during the war with the Saviors, and the fact that a lot of his people were killed. Now, it's really interesting for a few reasons. Negan never dealt with Ezekiel directly. It was, if you remember, they had the deal where the Saviors never went inside the kingdom, and also it was Gavin, one of his lieutenants, who dealt with the negotiations. And everything that went wrong there was Gavin's team and that long-haired guy, Jared, who fucked up the whole thing when he shot Benjamin. Negan wasn't directly involved in that. If he was, I would have been interested to have seen how that would have panned out, how those interactions would have gone down. The only time Negan mentions Ezekiel is in Season 8 when he calls him King Assface. If you guys remember, when he's talking to everyone at the round table about how they have to win the war, which is by capturing Rick, the widow, and the king, which is the title of an episode down the road. But yeah, so they have this conversation, and Negan's at the point where he's just can we please just let bygones be bygones? And I think for Negan, it's more in the forefront of his head to have this mentality, because he's thinking about his wife. He's thinking about his wife and kid. And you just get the sense that he's like a radically changed man. Like so many times during the Outpost 22 episode and the Faith episode, I was just like, watching some of these Commonwealth soldiers. One in Outpost 22, he gets bruised, like the guy slaps him across the face. In Faith, he gets, they take, they hit him with the butt of their rifle into his stomach. Just kind of getting beaten up, and there's just not a lot of fight, there's not like, they don't have like some sort of master plan. That's what I was thinking that they were going to do. I really thought Ezekiel and Negan were going to like get the group together and get these prisoners together to like riot, to overthrow. And I guess the point, that's not what happens, but I guess the point they're trying to make is that the Commonwealth has obviously the rotten core, which is a reference to a comic trade for the Commonwealth arc, but also like the power is at the top, right? And these soldiers are subjugated as well. That's why they show you the humanity, and that's why I'm glad they've shown us the humanity of the soldiers in small ways. There are still some red shirts, and there are a bunch of red shirts that we've had for Commonwealth soldiers that we've seen along the way. Soldiers that just don't have that humanity, and they just get they're just fodder. They're just fodder along the way. That Daryl or Carol or whoever it is, mainly Daryl, just popping these guys like they're just, again, like some of them are. It's a fine balance between red shirts and those with humanity, and they kind of just use them where the scenes need to make sense. But I feel like they've done it enough. Again, like, you have so much to get to, so I understand there's not going to be time for everything. But yeah, I was fully expecting them to lead a rebellion, and it doesn't go down that way at the end of Faith. Actually, I mean, there was some of the most tension-filled moments in the final parts of Faith that I've felt in a long time for The Walking Dead. I was watching the episode and was like actually pretty frightened for what could happen to our characters there. Although some external factors were external factors factored. There were external things that went into my knowledge, knowing that they would be fine, some of those characters, but I'll get to that. So in Outpost 22, there was no Eugene stuff because in Faith, we have the trial with Eugene and Yumiko defending Eugene in court. And I'm glad they didn't draw it out too much. I mean, I would have liked a little more like world building of the Commonwealth by having this back and forth trial. Like, I'm not trying to turn The Walking Dead into Better Call Saul, but it would have been cool to have seen, because we had like a little bit of a back and forth between Yumiko and Pamela tries to assert that the tape wasn't her son's voice, which is just stupid. Like, I know that like in the after scene, Angela Kang, or like the behind the scenes, Angela Kang is like, oh, like, Pamela's so powerful, she can just say stuff like that and get away with it. It's like, but is it grounded in any sensibility? Like, it's clearly Sebastian's voice. Like, no one, like, how the hell in the apocalypse does someone like go, like, what, did they go into like a video editor on a computer and like edit the voice? Like, it was kind of like a silly assertion. Like, oh, like that was her defense. And I was like this, I don't know, it just kind of reeked of like complete power craze, and I guess that's what they're kind of go for, that like she just feels like she has such control that like she can just get away with this kind of shit. And that's what Angela Kang confirmed, but I just thought that she could have leaned on a slightly more convincing argument. Like, because all the people think she's bullshitting. Like, they pan to the crowd, everyone's like, what the fuck? Like, it didn't help her. Like, all the people, they believe her less because she said that. But anyway, so the Outpost 22, there's some cool action scenes. I really liked, like, the train fight scene where they break the track switch, and they're able to hijack the train, take the conductor. And I did like the scene with the conductor where you see like how afraid he is to fail, because like he knows that like if he fucks up, like they're gonna know that like he did something. it was a great quick way of showing like the fear that the overall structure of the Commonwealth puts on people, that like, losing your job, losing your responsibilities, like the soldier that Princess beat up, who is in the Faith episode as like a prisoner, showing like if you slip up, like that's it. Like it's so drastic you can't build yourself up. You're immediately at the bottom of this caste system and you can't build your way back up. And before the Commonwealth was ever introduced in the TV show, like in the comics, that's how I always thought of it. Like it was a caste system. Like there's the high, there's the autocrats, and the plebeians at the bottom. And there's no way of going up. This isn't a capitalist structure of modern America where it's pull up your bootstraps and work hard and you'll get to the top, the whole American dream. So it's not like that. We've got a caste system, and there's just extreme examples. And I like how over the course of the Commonwealth in these episodes, you're seeing when they're faced with a decision, the fear of failing means that they're going to have a fate that brings them into like a very low stage of a society. And that's different for The Walking Dead because usually it's just surviving the walkers and trying to keep a civilization running or an outpost or a community running. Civilization is just such a foreign concept in this post-apocalyptic land. So to have that inserted is very different. I just realized I don't know if I'm recording this the right way. Let me see. Because I know YouTube's probably gonna freaking because I'm doing this on my phone because I'm so bootleg, because I don't have my main computer with all the fancy gizmos, which I will have it for the final episode, by the way. I just wanted to, I'll probably make a separate video about that, because I do plan on doing a reaction video for the final episode. Like, I started doing The Walking Dead with reaction videos, and it would be kind of crazy if I didn't finish out the main series by doing one, so I will do one. And I will have my computer for that. I would have to do this bootleg phone method, but for now, I'm just going to have to do that. So yeah, so it was interesting, again, like, it's so interesting seeing Negan in all of these situations, going back to him for the Commonwealth, because they didn't have him in any of the Commonwealth stuff in the comics, which I think was a massively missed opportunity. Another way that Kirkman just failed to bring any life to the final arcs of his comics. And, it's cool because to get to the scene I was talking about in Faith, like, I had some real fear of, like, who was going to live and die in that situation. Like, when there's the firing squad, when the warden tricks Negan into giving up a conspirator, and then he's just going to shoot Negan anyway for confessing it. It was a trick to get him to confess. And then he puts his wife there, and, like, it's just, like, pretty extreme. And I was like, we've seen some ruthless characters within the Commonwealth. Like, the warden is just, like, pretty soulless. He has some tributes of Lance. That is one thing. I almost feel like you could have had Lance be the warden. And I said this in my last review, that I feel like Lance's arc was cut short. He died in a really stupid way, trying to grab a gun and, not realizing he's going up against two badasses. Like, it was just really stupid and silly. Even if he had escaped that scenario, I don't know what the fuck he would have done. Pamela, she didn't want anything to do with him. And I don't know what he commands. Like, does anyone follow the fucking dude? It was just annoying because he did have his rogue band of Commonwealth soldiers going into this season, and then that was, like, dealt with in 2 episodes. Like, Pamela uses him as a scapegoat with the Sebastian situation, and then it's freaking done, which I thought was just really stupid. But I really feel like you could have had Lance in this situation. Like, when Lance is in prison, Pamela says, "I'll give you one more chance." The whole thing with the coins, and then she could have had him like take all of the prisoners and process them and do everything that the warden did. So then when they take down the warden in the final episode, it means a little more because it's Lance. And then like you're taking down Lance, and then you immediately got to go take care of Pamela. Like that would have been cool. Like the warden's like there was no name to him. Like he was just like, villain, however many Commonwealth villains we've had, like just, generic Commonwealth villain, kind of like how the Saviors had so many villains over the course of their, 2.5 seasons of existing. Now this is like, a number of Commonwealth villains within this system. And I was, again, like, I thought that guy maybe had connections to the CRM, that he was involved in the whole trade process with the Civic Republic. But, like, that's not the case. At the end of the episode, he dies after... and it was a nice moment that, like, all the people, like, came together and stood in front of Negan and Annie and defended them. Although, what made the other soldiers... Like, did they just say to themselves, like, no, that's, like, a step too far? Or was it the soldier that had the brother, the one that, like, couldn't leave when he wanted to, was that guy defecting in the combination of all the stuff that was going to happen with killing that many prisoners? Did the other soldiers defect? Because, like, they basically turned the camp. Like, they didn't need, like, I thought, like, Carol, Maggie, Daryl, and Connie were going to go in and just, like, stealth assassinate all these soldiers and liberate the prison. And I thought, like, Negan and Ezekiel's rebellion was going to merge with, like, Daryl and the rest doing their thing, and you would have had this whole rebellion that would have come from this. And that wasn't the case. They actually, like, there was only like one soldier got, like, knocked out. And then Maggie shot a guy that had Herschel captive, which I was kind of surprised they rescued Herschel so quickly. Kind of similar to the Coco thing. I thought that again, like, I keep thinking they mentioned this in the previous episode, in Outpost 22. The District 2. And I've seen some videos asking about this, trying to predict it. Like, what's District 2? And my theory, because they were going to put Connie on the train to District 2 before Daryl and Carol rescue her. And, maybe it's because she has the hearing impediment. But, like, is this kind of like the A and the B thing with the CRM? Like, that's what I thought that like, if there's not a need for them as prisoners, and there's not a need for them in this other sense, then they would be traded to keep an ongoing alliance with the CRM active. And I thought that's what was going to be, because we don't have a resolution on Coco, which is Rosita's child. And I thought Herschel, like, maybe Maggie was going to open the door and Herschel wasn't going to be there, but they just saved him. Like, I thought Herschel was either going to be captured, traded to this District 2, if it is the CRM or not, or he would have been a leveraging tool for the new series, the Negan and Maggie series that's filming, because we still don't know what's going to bring our characters there. Because that's the problem. Again, you have 2 episodes, and you have to establish Negan and Maggie going to New York, Daryl going to fucking Paris, and then whatever resolution is left with the communities. Is Rick going to be in the... I heard rumors that Rick might be in the last episode. Like, I know he was in Atlanta briefly. You can't really end The Walking Dead without having your main guy in it. I know they've got the Rick and Michonne series next year, but, I mean, it's kind of crazy if Rick wasn't involved. But if Rick is involved, would that affect the course of the Rick and Michonne series? Again, like, I still have so many questions. And I keep wanting to review these episodes just in the sense of the episodes. Like, yes, Outpost 22 was a cool episode. Ezekiel Negan's conversations were cool. Seeing like almost like an internment camp from World War II, almost like a commentary on that for Outpost 22. That was cool. Daryl and Carol, the train heist, that was also very interesting. Some of the humanity with the Commonwealth soldiers. I got thrown off with how things were going to resolve with Outpost 22 at Alexandria in the Faith episode. That was a really fear-clenching moment when everyone was, Negan and Annie were lined up and they were going to get shot. Like, it was just crazy, like knowing Negan's history, seeing that scene and seeing Ezekiel step in front and seeing the other step in front. Powerful stuff, but you have so many other things to wrap up, and I'm just concerned, and this comes through every review I've done for these episodes, and it's probably going to be I'm probably going to have a much larger debrief. Once the series is done, and I'll probably get Jeff from the Walking Dead world, who I've done some co-op videos with, we'll probably discuss this together, because I want to make sure that the show that this is going to work. Like, that we have a satisfying ending that gives us enough build-up for the other shows. Because, does everyone watching The Walking Dead know that there's spin-off shows that are going to resolve further conflicts, that's going to continue? Like, Daryl Dixon's basically the main character of your show right now. And he's going to be it's almost like The Walking Dead 2. Like, The Walking Dead is continuing. And that's the thing. The Walking Dead is still, like, it's not technically ending. The main show is ending, but it's still going on because you have most of our main characters continuing the story. Rick, Negan, Maggie, and Daryl. Like, those are like 4 very prominent characters that have more material beyond the Commonwealth conflict. And I'm just hoping, like, are we going to see everything connect? Like, are we going to get like a logical conclusion? Again, Scott Gimple on Talking Dead a year ago said that we would find the answer to whether the Commonwealth and the CRM was connected or not. Like, are we actually going to get that answer? Like, there's still a lot. Like, I'm just kind of confused and hoping that we get this resolution. Like, I loved both episodes, especially Faith. I liked Faith more than Outpost 22. Outpost 22, it was okay. Again, like, I think I would have liked these episodes more if we had the extra 8 episodes. I don't know why they didn't just do a season 12. I don't get it. I don't know why they didn't just make 8 more episodes in the spring, so then you can have like an epilogue. You can resolve things, and you can have, the setup for your shows. It's like, I don't get the sense with 2 episodes you can resolve everything, because yes, we're at the point where, like, we're reaching the end. Like, Mercer at the end of the episode defects. I loved his quote at the end, by the way. Like, how Faith ends, where he's like, time to fuck shit up. And it's just great. Like, it's annoying, though, because, like, they haven't been able to say the F word because AMC was on their ass. And now it's just, they don't care. Like, they're like, oh, yeah, whatever. You have a few episodes left, or maybe the FDC guidelines were laxed. I don't know. But, like, you needed that F word. When Negan was first introduced, he said it all the time in the comics, and he could never say it, except the bonus scene in the season 6 DVD, where it's from the perspective of the comics, and he says the F word because it's for the Blu-ray version only. But they never did that afterwards, and it's cool to see the F word now, but I wish they had included it before. But that's a whole other matter. But yeah, I mean, let me know. Do you guys think that there's enough time to resolve everything? I know I'm, letting these reviews get distracted by the bigger picture, but like, we're almost at the end here. Like, I can review these episodes in their containment, and I just listed the things that I really liked about them. It's been captivating. It's been keeping me involved. Again, that firing squad scene was very tense-filled, and what I was referencing at the beginning of the video was, if I didn't know Negan was going to live and go on to the freaking Negan and Maggie show, I would be pretty freaking scared. I would be like, holy shit, like, they might kill Negan off in this firing squad scene and maybe kill his wife off and his unborn child. Like, it's sick shit, but I know, like, and I'm afraid, but at the same, like, I mean, maybe that's the effectiveness of the scene, that I was still afraid even though I knew he was going to live. So that, hats off to the writers. Like, great scene. I loved it. But, and I know Jeffrey D. Morgan kind of voiced his frustrations. Like, he's like, well, that's just the way AMC wanted to promote it. But he kind of wished that they didn't do it. And I'm sure he probably was thinking about that scene. He probably knew. He's like, oh, yeah, there's a really dramatic, tense moment where my character almost dies, but, you know, if you know the external information, remember I was saying the external information? Yeah, if you know that he's in a series after the fucking Walking Dead, you know that he's fine. Like Daryl, he's gonna be fine. Negan, he's gonna be fine. Maggie, she's gonna be fine. Like, maybe not Carol, because Carol was supposed to be in the Daryl show, but now she's not, so maybe she's, I don't know. I thought Eugene, right now, like for my death predictions, and I might do a death predictions video. Right off the bat, though, I definitely think Eugene. You know, he was going to be executed before Mercer stepped in, but I mean, just Eugene has had a very, like, take me, not them, kind of like Negan, but Eugene has had a very much like a, like, you know, like I put me, like harm me, punish me. Like, he didn't implicate Max in anything. Like, he said, I did this, Max did nothing, even though it was Max's idea. He had that huge speech in the Faith episode, which pretty much convinced Mercer to do what he did at the end of the episode. So my money's on Eugene. Like, they did, like, the amount of time they've spent with him, like, I'm definitely getting the sense that he is going to, he's going to bite it. And that he might be our big death. Because that's the thing, like, even though you can't do the Sebastian Rick thing, because Sebastian's dead, I still expect them to kill off a main character, a big main character in a big way. I just don't know who. Like, again, there's so many unknowns now. Like, it's exciting, but also frightening, because I want them to pull it off and not fuck it up. But, you know, as the episode's named, the latter one that I'm reviewing, I just have to have faith, you know? I gotta have faith. You know, Angela Kang has, you know, the Whisperer arc was incredible because of her. I've mostly enjoyed the Commonwealth arc, although I've been a little confused and disappointed, especially with Lance. Like, that was hugely disappointing, the way that Lance went out. He was like, I loved him being a villain more than Pamela. I liked his villain arc far, 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 and I enjoyed him as a villain far more. And I enjoyed, like, Josh Hamilton as an actor. I just enjoyed everything about his performance, his delivery. Like, I was so intrigued to see what he had up his sleeve. And he just died in such a dumb way. And I was just so, yeah, man, I'd said this in the previous review, but I just really was not a fan of how they ended his character. And I know, because you're running out of fucking episodes, which is what I said. You should have had more, because you could have done more stuff with him and extended his villain arc. And, you know, but they didn't do that. So, you know, we just got to trust the process and have faith, as I've said for the second time. So, anyway, you know, 8.5 for Outpost. I'll give Faith a 9 if I'm going to do it out of a 10 scale. I promise my next 2 vlogs will be individual episodes, so next week's I will do individually. And then I want to do, like, I'll probably do a co-op video with The Walking Dead world to conclude it. I actually asked if he wanted to do a review with me, like, or do like a live reaction with me, but he's already got his plans, which makes sense. It's the thing is, it's probably just going to be me. A lot of my friends still do the reactions and stuff like that, but I just don't think that, you know, it's probably just going to be me. I was thinking about doing something special, getting some people involved, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to be me. So, but anyway, thank you guys for watching the review. Let me know what you thought about these 2 episodes. The Faith one dropped on AMC Plus, so I'm getting this out, you know, pretty quickly, reviewing that. I know I'm late on Outpost. Outpost is airing on AMC like now, like tonight as I'm making this video and uploading it. So, anyway, thank you guys for watching. I really hope the last couple of episodes are good, and let's see how all of this ends. All right? Thanks, guys. Peace.